Good morning and welcome to the joint webinar of Local Fame and the British Bulgarian Business Association on the topic Changes in User Behavior and Market Demand in the New Normal Scenario and its influence on lead generation in the UK market. We are excited to welcome you this morning to a discussion on a very topical issue in this frosty November morning. While we are gathering, you will see on your screen a poll that will help us get to know you a little better, because while you will be seeing the speakers, we cannot see you. Here is the icebreaker question for you. Just while we are gathering for the next 3-4 minutes, kindly respond to the question you see on the screen. Thank you. To all the newcomers on the call, welcome to you as well. My name is Desislava Miteva and I'm the Executive Director of the British Bulgarian Business Association. You see on the screen the results of our ice-breaking poll. We can see that the majority of you are not trading with the UK right now. And we hope that at the end of this webinar, we will be changing this tendency in the opposite direction, because the fact that you're here this morning shows your interest on the UK market. So when we welcomed Local Fame as a member of BBBA a few months ago, I was very excited because their expertise is very relevant to what we call the new normal. As much as we hate this definition, this is something that we have to get used to. A lot of our members have been asking me, okay, what do we do now? How do we find new clients? How do we adapt our offering to the changing demand on the UK market? Is it getting easier with the online era? Is it getting more difficult? I hope we will get many of those answers at our webinar today. But before we go into the introduction of our panelists, I would like to briefly tell you about the house rules today. Your chat is disabled as an attendee, so use please the Q&A session, the Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen to raise your questions. The speakers will respond to all questions after the presentation. If we have too many questions and we don't have enough time within the 1 hour duration of today's webinar, our panelists will respond to your questions after the session. And note that we are recording the webinar, so you will have access to the recording, and if you would like to share it with your colleagues or clients or friends who might be interested, please do not hesitate to do that. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our speakers this morning. It is my pleasure to welcome Dani Peleva, who is the Managing Director of Local Fame, and Antonia Georgieva, who is a Senior Account Manager at the same company. Dani holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Management and Economics and a Master of Science in Project Management from UCL, the University College London. She has started her career as a brand manager client side before moving to found an agency, which she's leading today, Local Fame. Ever since, she has worked in branding and digital marketing in various marketing verticals and clients around the globe. She has been running Local Fame for 6 years now and specializes in digital marketing for the franchise sector. Through the years, Local Fame has been recognized and nominated for a number of prestigious awards such as European Best Agency Awards, Franchise Marketing Awards, and many more. And although we have never met with Dani in person, we have had quite good communication online, and I think that we can learn a lot from her experience. A funny fact about Dani, to break the ice a little bit, she's a sports enthusiast and a football fanatic, and she plays in a ladies' football club. Maybe she can tell us more about that later. And her colleague, Antonia Georgieva. Tony, welcome as well. She's a business management graduate from the University of South Wales. She has been part of Local Fame for 3 years now in the role of senior account manager. She's communicating with clients from around the globe every day to help them achieve their business objectives through online marketing channels and tailor-made marketing strategies. Dani is based in London, and Tony is based in Varna. But with the wonders of technology, we can be all together this morning. And the funny fact about Tony, she is a proud mom of a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel named after a Harry Potter character. Tony, we're looking forward to learn which Harry Potter character, maybe later in your presentation. Ladies, welcome on board. I wish you a pleasant and successful webinar, and we're looking forward to learning from you. Dani, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Desi. It's a pleasure for us to host this webinar with BBBA. Welcome, everybody. Today's webinar is focused on the changes in user behavior in 2020 and how the demand in the market has changed thanks to the new normal. I hope you find this useful, and we will be gladly answering questions later on at the end of the webinar. So here's the contents and what we're going to talk about. And after all these points are covered, we will gladly answer your questions. So let's get cracking on. A little bit of information about the agency, although Desi put it in neatly. We have been awarded with quite a few awards and recognitions that you can see at the bottom of the screen, but we've been around for 6 years now. We work with global clients, predominantly English-speaking countries, but by saying that, we do have clients in Central America, Asia, in the Pacific, South America, and so on. So that makes our job very thrilling and exciting. We cover the creative side, we cover the implementation and strategy of marketing. Here you can see a little bit more about the services that we offer to our clients. And yeah, you can shoot off any questions at the end. So let's talk a little bit about the market disruption to set the scene. We can all agree that 2020 has been a game changer for all of us. The game has changed, and the game has changed in our personal life, in business, in the way we communicate. We've seen massive disruptions. But this is not the first time the economy and the way we do business has been disrupted. Through the years, we've seen this as pattern. And I'm talking about back in the days when in the agricultural age, for example, everyone used to farm the land. Then a discovery came, the machines came, and the industrial age came, which was groundbreaking innovation and changed completely the way we do business and the way we work. I believe that we're now at a stage where we're also shifting from one way we do business to another way. The shift is coming from the busy office workspaces and the crowded spaces to working from home or working with your computer from another place that has good internet connection. So we actually see this shift over centuries or over periods in times in history. And those shifts are actually changing the way we work. We've also observed a change from doing local business to actually going global. And an entrepreneurial mind is all about usually thinking that your target audience is your local audience, your geographical area. But now in 2020, you should expand that vision and think about the fact that you can actually market to a global audience. You can be selling your services or products to someone at the other end of the globe, because now the whole world is your territory, the whole world is your audience. So think and dwell a little bit upon that. And also, with these slides, we'd like to challenge you to think how your business has changed and how your clients are now interacting with your business, and what is that shift, and what it means to you. So just to dive a bit deeper and analyze the changes in the UK market, some of those are very applicable for other markets too. We've seen that we can't simply be going to crowded restaurants anymore and enjoy our dinners. So the food industry has massively been disrupted, and takeaway and home deliveries have peaked. So everyone is now enjoying good meals in their home, or they're actually preparing their own meals, simply because restaurants are either not open or we don't feel as safe anymore. The entertainment sector has been massively disrupted as well, meaning that we simply don't go to the cinema anymore to enjoy a film, but we do binge a lot of content on demand, and we do pay for content online like Netflix, Amazon Video, and other platforms that serve us on-demand content. What else has changed? The commute to work. We don't commute to work anymore, or drive or use public transport, but we rather sit at home and work from home. I believe most of us have already experienced that. The busy school run, for better or worse, for some of the parents, they're not sending their children to school or driving them to school anymore, but instead homeschooling has taken place, and they need to either support them and help them throughout the school hours, or help them out with their homework. Sorry for some of the parents. And then also the way we also do sport is something that I'm passionate about, what Desi mentioned. Gyms are sadly closed, so we're looking for alternatives to still keep fit. And busy gyms have now been replaced by working out at home, or personal trainers online that engage you within the comfort of your own home, and many other shifts. So yeah, think about how the game has changed for you, and how your potential target audience and the users that engage with your brand and your business have also changed the way they live and they search. So we can see that users are trying to combat boredom at home. This data was kindly provided by Google to us from the first lockdown. We saw spikes in searches such as what to do at home, what to watch at home. Content like what to cook myself or where to buy this from have spiked. So the things to do at home is a great example, because people feel bored. People spend a lot more time, free time online. So they search for a lot more products or services to entertain themselves, which means they could be searching for your business as well. At-home entertainment consumption, as I mentioned, has risen with 60%, and game downloads and app downloads with 80%. So that just shows how much more spare time users have, and how they're searching to entertain themselves. COVID-19 has provided us with many changes, and one of those is huge risk to the manufacturing side of businesses. I'm not sure if there's any manufacturers in the webinar today, but I can just briefly mention that the automotive and the pharmaceutical industries have been impacted mostly and globally, just because they need to stock up on a lot of inventory, and because of that, they are now in high risk, and COVID-19, or the new normal scenario, has impacted them globally. Now I'd like to pass the word to Tony so that she can talk you through on the topic of how users search for your services nowadays.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Now you'll be seeing another question we have for you on your screens. Please feel free to answer that. We can have a brief discussion about the results later on. As you know, this year we've seen major changes in everything, and we have also observed switches in the devices that people use for their searches. At the beginning of the year, before the lockdowns, before the pandemic, most people used their mobile phones to do searches, to scroll through social media feeds, and now we see a transition to desktop devices as people are spending more time at home. However, in the last couple of months, we've seen a switch back and forth. This is important for all businesses that want to operate in a digital environment and that have ongoing paid campaigns. Because another thing that has changed is the time of day searches occur. And if previously people spent time on their phones on the way to work or during their lunch break and on the way back home, now with the home office and homeschool concept, that has been changed and is more unpredictable than ever. So all businesses that want to share content and share ads with their target audience need to take into consideration those changes and adapt their paid campaign strategy. Consumers are also now driving business to innovate. This is not only up to the business themselves, but consumers are demanding it. They're expecting the same level of service across different channels, across different product categories, regardless of whether they're looking for shoes, cleaning supplies, or to book a service. You need to adapt all your digital platforms in order to be consistent and to meet the client's needs. We have also seen a rise for searches for virtual try-ons, for example, and people are looking for bargains. They want to find the best product, they want to find the best price, and they're willing to do the research because they have the time to invest more time in that evaluation and decision side of the buying process. Another thing that we have seen is obviously the demand for doorstep delivery, and even for niche products such as compost, balloons, flowers. So even if you think your business is incapable of operating in a digital environment, nowadays in the current situation, this now might be the case. You might be able to actually adapt and have a steady stream of revenue even during lockdown, even if you previously operated in a physical location and met with your clients face to face. You need to consider all options that are available for you. Another thing that we've seen is the demand of consumers to find real-time information and updates at all times. This means that the information for your working hours, for your terms and conditions, for delivery times and everything else needs to be constantly updated. You can't allow your website or social media pages to have outdated information that will mislead and frustrate your consumers. Another thing is that we'll talk about a bit more later on is providing helpful information that's useful for them in order to navigate and help consumers throughout their buying journey and buying experience. So they will, we've seen that consumers now look for online reviews, product ratings in order to identify what's best and what will satisfy their needs. So it is more important than ever to have a strong online reputation. We'll now talk a bit more about the factors that are affecting the buying decision. For many products and services, user needs are shifting rapidly. Lots of teams have decided to stop doing user research because they consider this is now the time to do it. However, in my opinion, this is the best time to do it because user research is a form of risk reduction. And we can all agree that at the moment, the risk is huge. And the more research you do, the more you can reduce that risk. Each user group is unique and they have different needs, different considerations in order to purchase or book a service or product. So depending on who your target clients are, their behavior and preference might be completely different from another user population. The factors you need to consider include behavioral shifts, such as changes in daily activities and their frequency, psychological shifts, such as concerns and priorities. Changes in daily activities are going to be crucial for you, and you might want to see what concerns people have in order to make them feel safe and reassured. The other thing is that your user group and your target audience might have completely changed. You might now be looking at the wrong audience altogether. So this is something you need to research and consider, and perhaps you have to change your focus. Another thing that is a factor in the buying decision process is the regional effect. So local restrictions. Are you trying to target people in an area they have very, very strict lockdown measures, or are people able to do the normal activities as usual? And the last thing is the temporal effects. All of these changes we're discussing, they might be permanent, they might be here for the long run, or they could fade away in time. We can't know the answers to all these questions. We don't know. The only way to gain knowledge and start understanding your clients is to use the research and to do it ongoingly. And you probably will find out areas for improvement. You'll probably find ways that you can improve, develop your business, because change is not always bad. It can give you opportunities. It can give you ideas and chance to grow and develop. All of the previously mentioned factors that I discussed need to be taken in consideration and be reflected on your website in terms of visual and written content, paid ads, offline materials, even the customer service that you provide to your clients. Everything needs to be consistent. Another important element to remember is that if your business previously relied on word of mouth recommendations as a lead generation technique, nowadays it is crucial to have a strong online reputation, and you need to pay attention to it because that could be the difference between profit and loss. That could be the difference between a new client and a lost client. So this has a huge impact on your business and, of course, your revenue. Now, Danny will talk about a bit more toolkit and ways that you can adapt your business and what you can do to get the most out of this current situation.
Thank you, Tony. We've got another question for you guys. How confident are you that your business is prepared for the new normal from everything that you've heard so far? It will be very interesting to know whether you feel confident, somewhat confident, or not confident. I'll just give you a few seconds to decide and vote before we move on to the actual practitioner part and the toolkit that we've prepared. Somewhat confident, okay. So great, I guess this next section is going to be interesting for you then. So I'd like to start with a story. There was this story about two friends that always used to jog together. Both of them were runners. They would meet up a few times a week to run. One of them was slightly fitter than the other one. But they were still jogging together and they were both very fit. The guy that was falling slightly behind and was slightly slower when he was running, one day shows up with a bike and he starts cycling next to the runner. So what do you think changed? Of course, the guy on the bike was actually much faster, and the other runner was trying to catch up all the time. It wasn't working, however. The guy on the bike was using less effort and he was making a greater output. And the guy that was running was trying to catch up. So he was putting in even more efforts, but he was falling behind. This is a great analogy for your business. The two guys are two businesses, and the bicycle is actually the technology and methodology that a business should be using in 2020. If you're not using the right technology in place and the right processes, you will be falling behind. And it will feel that you're putting in extra effort, you're working longer hours, but you're not succeeding. And others that are passing past you with ease, that have the right technology and process in place, will be working a lot less hard, but will be having greater results and output. This is just to stress on how important it is to actually have the right toolkit in your belt. So we've prepared this process with 5 easy steps so that you can easily break it down into steps and apply it in your business. And I will talk about, me and Tony will talk about these points individually. And if you'd like to get the slides after or a record of the webinar, you will have those available. So auditing and assessing your own media and third-party media is crucial to begin with. This means that you should start thinking about every single touch point your brand can be found by users, or every single touch point the user communicates with your brand. Obviously, the first point that we can think of is your website, your own media. Your website should be audited and assessed. And Tony touched briefly upon that. You should be thinking about removing all that imagery that's outdated, all that information, contact details, and reassuring your potential clients that you're still open for business, how you have changed and adapted so that you can continue trading. The message should be different. Obviously, having a picture of many people in one place without wearing masks is now not relevant, so that can actually put off a lot of the users, and it can have negative and detrimental effect on the buying decision. So think about not only the pictures, the information that you present, but also the tone of voice. Every single business that we work with has now updated their websites and has put in some information about COVID-19 practices. Think about the message that you'd like to give the users about their safety, how you care about their safety, and how the changes that you've made, but also the changes that you've made to keep your staff safe, showing a 360 consideration. To return back, it's not only your website that you should audit and think about, it's also your social media posts, your social media accounts, registrations in third-party websites and directories. Everywhere that someone can actually interact with your brand, you should revise and audit and update that information to stay consistent throughout all online channels. Also think about offline marketing collateral, flyers or leaflets, the email marketing campaigns, the direct mail that you're sending. It all has to stay aligned and it has to adapt to the new normal. So that's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. The second step is to plan and prepare those campaigns. Once you've audited and assessed the situation, think about the message that you'd like to send out to the users. As we said, you have to be very considerate about the situation. For example, a picture of a woman sitting in a hotel room and someone sanitizing behind her might be considered by a user a bit off-putting and a bit intrusive because you don't have your own privacy in the hotel room. But at the same time, a picture or an image of a hotel lobby and a person sanitizing in the lobby is actually very welcoming and makes the user feel secure and safe. So very carefully select the images and the tone of voice that you are actually directing to the users. And think about what you'd like to convey. Do you want to convey a hard sales message, Or do you want to tell them that you're out there, caring and trying to deliver the services with as little disruption as possible in the current scenario? Tony is now going to talk about adapt and how to adapt your message onto your platforms, and a few examples of big retailers. You're muted, Tony. Sorry, we don't hear you.
Sorry. So the next stage of the process is to adapt. As Danny mentioned, it is important to consider what your client needs. And perhaps one example we can give is with the Boots retailer. I'm sure that many of you are aware of it. They have completely redesigned and changed their website in order to make it more useful and more convenient for users. They have redesigned the menu in order to put in focus the products that are most needed at the moment. Another thing that's really, really important is the actual visuals on the homepage. What are the first things that people see once they visit your website? Are they about the safety measures you're taking? Are they about useful information about the product? So all of that needs to be changed, discussed, and you need to find the best way to focus and to give helpful advice and information to users. This relates to my next point. This is the help. Adding value has never been more important. You need to try and help your target audience. Rather than help them sell your product, address their pains and provide them a solution to it. Put aside the sale as an end goal. Being helpful will make you stand out of the crowd and will help you really reach your target customers. Research has shown that sensitivity is now much more important than ever before when communicating with users. A softer brand voice is now better than high-pressure sales tactics. It is, of course, important to sell because at the end of the day, that's what we do. However, at the same time, you need to really make your customers feel safe, reassured, and confident in using your services or products. Helping your clients should be a priority, and this might involve referring them to a different part of the supply chain if they look for something that you can't provide, or offering more support online, more flexible terms and conditions. But most importantly, you need to show clients that you understand their needs and that you care about their best interests. The last thing that is really important in our strategy and our process is pivot. You need to really consider this as a very suitable way of doing business. Many big brands have now seen the need to adjust their strategy and to change the way they work and repurpose their resources in order to find more value in the current situation. The only thing that is certain is change, and as Danny mentioned, this is something that is happening ongoingly over a period of time. You need to, for example, create partnerships so that you can offer package deals. If you have identified a need or a problem and you can't help with that service with your customers, then find someone who can and package their service offering with your own in order to increase the value that you're giving to customers. The COVID-19 crisis has made it necessary for many companies to shift their business models quickly. Many are repurposing the assets to create extra value, to protect the brand, and to survive. The three things you need to consider when deciding on potential pivots are value proposition, value networks, and target customers, or what value you can deliver, who you can deliver it to, and how they will benefit from it. Local Fame is proud to be working with many people around the globe, and we're very happy to say that
Did we lose Tony? Sorry, Tony, I think we lost you there for a second. The beauties of the internet connection. So Tony was just making a point that we do have clients that have successfully pivoted with our help. As an example, we can give a beauty salon, and beauticians have been massively affected by the global pandemic, unfortunately. So a client that has been affected by the pandemic, a beauty salon, has managed to pivot thanks to our help. We've created an e-commerce website for them, and they now sell the products that their clients use and need while they cannot operate. So being in lockdown, but still thinking, and when you can't directly operate on the market, or you can't operate in trades as previously, doesn't necessarily mean that you can stop trading completely. This is why you need to think about pivoting and what else can you do. A good point that Tony made was that change is not always a threat. It also is an opportunity. And I'd like to get this to resonate with you and sink in. So if we can recap of everything that we've spoken about so far, change is an opportunity. Think about it in this way and focus on the positives. Firstly, audit and assess all your marketing collateral and marketing message and strategy on all your channels, whether those are own channels or third-party websites such as social media platforms. Audit and assess. The next step would be to plan and prepare the message carefully and to make sure that you're consistent throughout all the marketing platforms with the same message. Thirdly, do adapt that message, taking into consideration the market change. As Tony put it bluntly, some of your users might not even be the same. Your ideal buyer persona could have changed. The time of the day that they search for your products and services might have changed. They're not working from 9 to 5 anymore and engage with your brand while commuting or in their lunch breaks. We have this 24/7 cycle now where actually users are online throughout. So maybe your ads and your ad copy should adapt to that. You should also be thinking about adapting your message on mobile device or desktop, depending on whether they're interacting on a mobile or desktop, whether your users are on the move, your target audience is on the move, or whether they're sitting at the comfort in the comfort of their own homes. Make sure that you provide helpful content. Always the first thing in mind should be helping the user and then selling. Nobody likes cheesy sales guys or pushy sales pitches, especially in a scenario of global pandemic. Users and potential buyers should feel that they're cared for, that they're being assisted and helped, rather than just being sold something in a cold way. And lastly, think about pivoting. It's not impossible. Even if you can't currently trade or you can't deliver the usual services that you deliver to your audience, or some of your buy products or buy services have been impacted, think about diversifying your portfolio or pivoting or changing slightly or packaging in some deals so that you can stay afloat and be competitive. So that's the end of our presentation. I hope it's been useful, and it's Q&A time now.
Thank you very much, Dani and Tony, for sharing your knowledge with our audience. A few takeaways for me that I will apply in what we do at BBBA. Think creatively is something that we need to do on a day-to-day basis, because we have to be very flexible and adaptive to the current situation. Diversifying the portfolio. My reading of this is probably don't be afraid to start new things and experiment a little bit. And think about your client and how to be helpful to your client. I couldn't agree more with that. I would like to invite our audience to ask questions in the Q&A session. And while we are gathering these questions, I have one for you ladies, and it is related to online fatigue. We have seen the audience become a little bit tired of staring at the screen 24/7. Although this is the new reality, we realize that it is very difficult to stay focused and to keep the attention of the audience in this online environment. What would you advise the people that we have here with us today in terms of messaging when it comes to counteracting online fatigue? And I see you have also a few questions now in the Q&A session, so the floor is back yours.
Thank you, Desi. Well, just to give my input on your question, yes, we do observe that in the new normal scenario, our screen time has increased. I follow very closely the reports from my devices, and yes, massively, the time that we spend on screens has increased, especially during lockdown times. Of course, we always want to stay focused, and to be able to target the users in the right way, I would always say concentrate and be very specific to what you'd like to say to the user, and do it in a very short period of time. Meaning that if you create video content, for example, the video content shouldn't be more than 30 seconds to a minute long. Try to compress that message and be very specific about what you're offering or what you're saying or what you'd like them to do, because people simply don't have the time to watch an ad that's 5 minutes long or a video that's 10 minutes long. It has to be very catchy the first 10 seconds to grab users' attention, because our attention span has changed so much. So you'd like to be very focused and very specific about your messaging, and to not write huge blocks of text on your website, let's say, or huge messaging, long videos or anything like that. Just be as short and direct as possible, so that you can get that message to sink in with your users. If Tony wants to add on this.
No, thanks, Danny. I would like to answer one of the questions from the audience about helping businesses that usually offer offline services in terms of pivoting. I apologize for getting cut off earlier. I guess there were some technical issues, as I don't know whether you managed to hear all of the things I wanted to share with you about pivoting. There's no side that fits all. You need to really know your audience, to know the services that you offer, to know where value lies. And based on your business specific objectives and the services that you offer, you need to find and identify the way to pivot that's going to be more successful to you. And who knows, that could be something that you implement in the long term that's to completely change your business model. Or it could just be a temporary decision for during the lockdown time and during the pandemic. So there's no one right answer. You need to find the best answer and the best thing for you, for your business, because you as business owners know what you want to achieve. You know your unique selling points. You know your clients and what they like, what they dislike, what their concerns are. So you need to try and address those. We see here another question that we have, to how to structure emails to get more engaging and how to use digital marketing to its potential. As we've said previously, Local Fame in our agency deals with digital marketing services. So this is a question we get quite often from our clients. And again, there's not one size that fits all. There's always that tailored strategy, that's a personalized approach. However, in general, what you need to try and implement in your digital marketing and specifically emails is to keep it engaging. No one has the time or no one has the willingness to read long, lengthy emails with lots of information. They're never going to reach that. You need to grab their attention. And as Danny said, our attention span, it has completely changed recently. And you have only a limited time to grab the user's attention and to engage them and translate that into a further conversation. Perhaps Danny would like to now answer.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. So we've got another question from one of the attendees, which goes, what is a good approach to update information and messaging on all platforms when you have multiple locations? So as you saw earlier, we do specialize in franchise marketing, and franchising is all about multiple locations and businesses that are chains and have many locations. So a few tips on that. Firstly, when you have a multi-location business, it is of utmost importance, especially now in 2020, for you to be harnessing and utilizing the potential of Google My Business. I don't know if you have a Google My Business listing for each location. If you don't, go away and do it right away. It's the free, it's got the highest value for your business, and it has so much value for users when searching for your businesses. So that's one. If you do have existing Google My Business listings, you should be aiming to achieve consistency throughout all the listings in terms of imagery, in terms of information about the business. So contact phone number, email addresses, the way people can get hold of you. Even now on Google My Business, Google has rolled out an update in 2020 that says COVID-19 update, which means it allows you to adapt to COVID-19 scenario and to say whether you're operating, whether you're open for people, or whether you deliver the services to their own home during lockdown. So there are so many opportunities for you to utilize that potential. If we move aside from Google My Business and think about strategizing in overall, a multi-location business should be focused predominantly on consistency. Consistency is the key, and consistently distributing your marketing message throughout all location is very important. So to put it in practice, I would say create a plan, a marketing plan for each location, one big marketing plan, and break it down for each location. Provide the framework for each location. For example, if you have different social media channels per location, then you should be providing them with a framework for the social media posts. So if each location is sending their own message or posting their own pictures, at least for them to be staying consistent with the brand and to have a framework of that. Obviously, because I don't know the nature of the business, I can just generalize, but if you do want to ask us directly, you're welcome to send us an email. You'll see our contact details in the next section. Tony, do you want to answer anything or add on to anything that I just mentioned?
I think I would just like to summarize some of the things that people ask us nowadays and that we've seen as questions during the registration for the webinar. Many people are trying to find out ways to reach their customers and to really keep that connection with your audience. And this is something that you should do. Even theaters and cinemas and businesses like that who we usually visit physically, they've tried to find ways to communicate with their clients and the audience online in the digital domain. And that is something you can always do, regardless of the business or services that you offer. You need to stay in touch with people because they are your clients and they will tell you what they need. And the only thing you need to do is listen and then implement changes, to meet their needs. And if you have any other questions or if you want to know anything more specific, please feel free to contact us. You're now seeing our contact information. As Dan mentioned earlier, we are based in London and we also have a Bulgarian office, so you can contact whichever number you prefer, and we're happy to help with everything that you might need. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Just one last question that I saw that we missed to answer, and there were someone from the audience was asking about ways to pivot other examples, like the beauty salon. When you are offline, I gave the examples of the beauty salon whom we help to pivot and sell their products online to users to stay engaged. So other examples, similar businesses that were actually unable to operate and remained shut during lockdown. Those businesses started creating video content of how to do it yourself at home, for example. It could be anything from a pizzeria or pizza place, but pizza, if you can't open or if you can't stay open, or anything that you used to get done, like a massage or a beauty procedure or anything else. Those businesses started creating content on how to do it yourself, helpful video content, and uploaded it to their platforms, so users could engage and see those videos. They also started selling products that complement those services. Another example is the arts, and the arts sector has been globally impacted. So theaters, cinemas, entertainment and arts, all these artists, so that they could stay active and also continue to perform, they started performing online and started selling tickets of their performances online. It's not the same experience nevertheless, but the message towards their audience was help a local artist survive, support your local community, support your artists, and support your theaters and cinemas. And actually the response from the audience was surprisingly good, and people were happily and gladly chipping in and buying a ticket to watch an online show, only for the idea to support a global community and support the artists. So think out of the box. That's my point. Think out of the box and get creative. If you need any more ideas or examples, do give us a ring, call us, drop us an email. We'll gladly answer, no obligation whatsoever. We're here to help. And that leads us to our next slides. If you liked what you heard and you're interested in having the professionals audit your own website, your platforms, your media, with that checklist in mind and that 5-step process, the first 10 of you who email accounts@localfame.com in requesting a free report are going to get this free report. So if by all means you're interested to hear what the specialists say, do email us. It's absolutely free. You get a report on your business, on your current situation, and tips on how to adapt your current media and marketing message. And then you get a phone call, a follow-up phone call with either myself or Tony that is going to talk you through the report and explain the best practices that you can implement for your business so that you can adapt to the new normal. So the first 10, be quick to send us an email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dani and Tony. I think this is a very attractive proposal, because we get a lot of inquiries at BBBA on how should we package our products and services so that they are attractive on the UK market. From what you shared today, it's pretty universal messages. So it's not only the UK market, and I know you have clients all over the globe. So take advantage of those. I hope our audience will take advantage of this pre-Christmas present to learn from the expert in a one-to-one conversation, because it was a good trailer of what you can actually give them. However, a one-to-one conversation would bring that one step further. Thank you very much, everyone, for the questions, for participating in the polls. And thanks also to our speakers. I hope you found this interesting and interactive, and keep us posted on your feedback and ideas for next sessions that we can have together. And enjoy your Friday and weekend. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.